my angels, it's Hailey Reese and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so grateful that you are here and I hope that you are having an absolutely fantastic morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you when this video finally reaches you. Oh goodness, today's video is one that has come highly requested. I can't even begin to tell you guys how many of you have requested that I dive into today's subject, and that is mimics. Now, I have been wanting to talk about mimics for a while now, specifically after Tyler and I encountered a mimic in our last space that we lived in when we were having an extremely difficult time with our haunting there. But mimics feed on fear, they feed on attention, they feed on response and acknowledgement, and at the time, it just was not fitting for me to dive into the entire subject. But today, it is finally that time. We are going to dive into the entire subject of mimics, what exactly mimics are, and what's going on with them. Now, we're also going to take a look at why lately so many people are having encounters with mimics. I mean, it's no secret all over the world of the internet. There are numerous cases of people experiencing mimics and torment from mimics. So we're going to take a look at all of it. In the past, we've dove into countless entities, beings, creatures, some urban legends, some mythological, some deemed to be as real as both you and I. Specifically, we've taken a look numerous times at skinwalkers, wendigos, creatures that are able to shift their form and present themselves in other ways. But mimics take a rather interesting turn because their true, deepest intentions are not quite known, and their capabilities are endless because a mimic can turn itself into not only you, those you love, those you care about, your animals, your teachers, your acquaintances, but also objects. An object around you could be watching you, listening, and preying on you. But the motive is much deeper than simply watching you. What if I told you that these mimics may want all of you? Now, what exactly these mimics are is up for debate, and it really depends on who you talk to. Many of people believe that the mimics are a demon or are demons of sorts. There are others who believe that they are just low vibrational beings. But regardless of what exactly they are, one thing is for certain. They have no good intentions, and they are extremely low vibrational. A mimic is known to be an elusive, mysterious, copycat type ghost, spirit, entity, or demon. Whatever they are able to mirror traits, behaviors, and appearances of you, of those you care about, or of really whatever they should choose to. Now, it's said that the mimics come around and learn things about you, things that can be used to manipulate you, things like your name or your nickname, or places you have to go, things you have to do, people you know. The mimic will do its absolute best to impersonate whomever it feels it needs to get what it wants out of you. So what exactly is it that the mimic wants, while in some tellings, the mimic simply wants to lure you towards it. It may use the voice of your mom, your husband, your children, your sister, luring you out perhaps into the woods, the yard, the basement. And once it has you, you may just never be seen again. But it's also said that these mimics may just want to terrify you, because it's said that they are demon-like low vibrational entities that want you afraid. The more afraid you are, the more attention you give them, the more you acknowledge them, the more you feed them. They say by the time you actually see a physical manifestation of a mimic, it's because you've given it all this power to manifest into the form it should choose to. It is said that the best thing you can do if you're faced with a mimic is to not pay it any mind and to not acknowledge it, to cleanse your space and to do all you can to move on. Now, what's really eerie about these mimics is the fact that many people have difficulty telling the difference between a mimic and their loved ones. Meaning that standing in front of you could be an exact replica of your spouse, your daughter, your son. But if you look close enough, something won't be quite right. And that's how you'll know that they may not be who they say they are. Mimics will do their absolute best to impersonate those that you love or those that you care about, but they don't always get it quite right. Meaning, there are people who have seen friends of theirs, but when they speak, the voice emitting from them is that of somebody else they know, because the mimic hasn't quite learned them yet and is essentially mixing up the people that they care about. But mimics also don't get it quite right every time either when it comes to appearance. Slight things will normally be different. People who have met mimics face to face claim that the smiles just seemed a little too wide, the eyes a little too strange, the energy off. Many people claim that while it was their mother calling to them or their husband yelling out for them, the way that it was said just wasn't quite right. But there are others who claim they were home and had absolutely no idea that the person calling out for them wasn't who it was supposed to be. And that's where Tyler and I come in. Because in our last home, we both had an encounter with some sort of mimic. Now, what I mean by some sort of mimic is I could do a whole video on the differences between all of these different entities and creatures in the paranormal realm and world. So specifically for me, I'm not certain at this given point in time whether or not what Tyler and I encountered was the mimic demon or just a low vibrational spirit, entity, energy, manifestation, whatever the case may be, that was beginning to mimic. Now, regardless, no deceased loved one that is crossed on is going to come down and take on your husband's voice and try to scare you. No angel, no guide, no spirit guide is ever going to do anything to scare you, to mislead you, to manipulate you. It's never going to happen. So regardless, whatever it was that took the form of both myself and Tyler, it was not a being of light and love, and it was not a high vibrational being. I specifically remember hearing Tyler calling out for me while being in the shower, calling back out to him multiple times, which you're not supposed to do. It feeds it, it grows the energy, it makes whatever that mimic is much stronger. But yet I called back out to it, and when he didn't answer and I called him on his phone, I could hear that he was off driving somewhere. Tyler physically saw me, and what I was wearing, hiding from him, tucking its legs back in, and when he came around the corner, I was not there. This is my hand under oath, the God's honest truth of our experience. That is what we experienced. And it was chilling. Now, the thing about mimics is that oftentimes, if things aren't nipped in the bud immediately or taken care of, things can turn very dark very quickly, and at times dangerous. And it would prove when we would try to leave and Tyler would get into an accident that neither one of us has to this day felt comfortable fully talking about to the entirety of what it was on all levels. But even when we tried to leave beyond that, our money tree, like soil and planter pot, caught fire from the soil before our eyes. I physically witnessed it. And these were all things that started happening, physical manifestations of this spirit entity that was mimicking myself and Tyler, impersonating us to one another, which is all the more terrifying now being out of that space. If you guys are new to my channel and you don't know what went on in our last home, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother thing. But the fact that we did have a mimic entity, or at least a spirit of such a low vibration, it was mimicking both Tyler and myself, is really, really eerie. So how are you supposed to know if you're face to face with a mimic? Well, you're supposed to pay attention to whether or not the energy seems normal. Does it feel like the person energetically that you know? Do their eyes look wider? Do their eyes look strange? Are they blinking normal? How are they talking? How do they smile? How do they walk? There will be something slightly different. And I'm like giggling to myself within my mind right now because I'm imagining how many of you are going to be looking at like your partners or your husbands and your wives or your children sideways when they're acting weird. Like, I don't know, who are you? And they're going to be like, who are you watching online? But no, it's very, very eerie stuff. Now, why do I think this is happening now more than ever? Well, because it became a viral trend on TikTok. I have seen TikToks with millions and millions and millions of views with people talking about their experiences with mimics, people sharing footage of mimics calling out to them. And the more that it's talked about and the more people are talking about it within their homes and calling out for these experiences, the more that these spirits and entities are manifesting and coming forward. While the darkness does exist and is among us, there is far more light, and light will always overcome the darkness. I intend to do an entire deep dive into mimic experiences, mimics caught on camera, the whole kitten shaboodle. Is that what it is? I've never really ever said that phrase before, and it just came out. That is so bizarre. But anyways, the whole 9 yards, so to speak, I'm going to dive head on into it. So with that being said, if you have had any experiences that may be notable for me to include, make sure to let me know. If there are any videos or experiences that you would like for me to include, make sure to tag me in them or to bring them to my attention on any forms of my social medias. And yeah, that is basically what mimics are and our experience with a mimic. They are absolutely terrifying, and I understand why people are so scared. But definitely let me know what you guys think. And that's it for today's video. If you guys are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed, but you enjoy my content, I would love it if you would go ahead and click that subscribe button. And please give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until tomorrow, I love you. Bye, guys.